Welcome back to ABC General Hospital Spoilers channel. Today we will learn about the issue of Harrison Chase's turbulent journey following his shocking demotion at the Port Charles Police Department and how his fragile emotional state might lead him straight into the waiting arms of Willow Corinthos. The fallout from his career setback has created a perfect storm of vulnerability, poor judgment, and dangerous opportunities that could shatter his marriage to Brooklyn Quartermaine in ways neither of them saw coming. Buckle up, General Hospital fans, because this storyline promises to deliver all the drama, heartbreak, and shocking twists that soap opera enthusiasts live for. The devastating demotion. The walls came crashing down on Detective Harrison Chase last week when acting Police Commissioner Dante Falconeri delivered news that would fundamentally alter the trajectory of his professional life. The demotion from detective back to uniformed patrol officer wasn't just a step backward in his career, it represented a complete dismantling of everything Chase had worked so hard to achieve since joining the PCPD. The badge he wore with such pride, the investigative work that gave his life purpose, the respect he'd earned from his colleagues, all of it stripped away in one devastating conversation. Initially, Chase's primary fear centered on the possibility of being terminated entirely from the police force. When Dante offered him the option to return to patrol duty instead of facing unemployment, most rational people would have viewed this as a generous lifeline, a second chance to rebuild their career from the ground up. But Chase's reaction revealed a troubling inability to recognize his own good fortune. Instead of gratitude, he displayed petulance. Instead of humility, he showed entitlement. The very idea of donning a patrol uniform again seemed beneath him, as if the profession he once embraced with enthusiasm had somehow become degrading now that he'd tasted the prestige of detective. What makes Chase's attitude particularly galling is his complete lack of accountability for the rogue actions that led to his downfall. He appropriated confidential PCPD intelligence, launched an unauthorized private investigation, and flagrantly violated department protocols, all in a misguided attempt to prove Willow Corinthos innocent of shooting Drew Kane. While his intentions may have been noble in his own mind, the road to professional destruction is paved with good intentions. Chase crossed lines that should never be crossed, and now he's paying the price. Yet rather than owning his mistakes and demonstrating the maturity necessary to rebuild trust, he's wallowing in self-pity and resentment. The adoption conversation. In the aftermath of his demotion, Chase turned to his wife Brooklyn Quartermaine, seeking comfort and perhaps distraction from his professional humiliation. But instead of simply processing his emotions and developing a constructive plan to move forward, Chase made a proposal that raised immediate red flags for his perceptive spouse. He suggested they restart the adoption process, reviving their previous plans to expand their family through adoption. On the surface, this might seem like a positive, forward-thinking decision, a couple choosing to focus on building their future together despite professional setbacks. However, Brooklyn Quartermaine didn't get where she is by being naive or easily fooled. Her sharp intellect and emotional intelligence immediately detected something suspicious about the timing of Chase's proposal. With characteristic directness, she posed a question that cut straight to the heart of the matter. Was adoption becoming a consolation prize for his career? Disappointment. Was he attempting to fill the void left by his professional failure with personal accomplishments? Chase vehemently denied these implications, insisting that his desire to adopt stemmed from genuine paternal instincts and love for Brooklyn, not from any subconscious need to compensate for his wounded ego. But Brooklyn's concerns were far from unfounded. She recognized a pattern of behavior in her husband, a tendency to seek quick fixes and emotional band-aids rather than confronting difficult truths about himself. She gently but firmly suggested that he might be using the adoption process as a distraction mechanism, a way to avoid dealing with the painful reality of his demotion and the hard work necessary to restore his professional standing. It's this kind of psychological myopia, this inability to engage in genuine self-reflection, that sets Chase up perfectly for what's coming next in this unfolding drama. Willow's strategic positioning. Enter Willow Corinthos, the Widowmaker, whose destructive influence has already left considerable carnage in her wake. The woman whose reckless actions with a syringe led directly to Drew Kane's devastating stroke now finds herself in need of emotional support and validation. And who better to provide that support than the man who risked everything, his career, his reputation, his integrity to defend her when she needed it most. Chase's unwavering loyalty to Willow throughout her legal troubles has created a bond between them, one that Willow won't hesitate to exploit when the opportunity presents itself. As Drew remains locked in, trapped in his own body, unable to communicate or move, Willow will undoubtedly seek out sympathetic ears to listen to her lamentations. Never mind that her own violent impulses created this nightmare scenario, Willow has demonstrated a remarkable talent for positioning herself as the victim in situations where she bears significant responsibility. She'll cry to Chase about the tragic circumstances, about her guilt and pain, about her loneliness and fear. And Chase, with his hero complex and his current emotional vulnerability, will be powerless to resist offering comfort. The prediction here is clear and devastating. Willow will make a calculated move on Chase. Whether motivated by a desperate need to feel something other than guilt, by a desire to punish herself through self-destructive behavior, or simply because she can, because she knows he's available and vulnerable and unlikely to resist, Willow will cross that line. She'll use his compassion against him, weaponize his kindness, and transform his sympathy into something far more dangerous and destructive. The February Sweeps catastrophe. As February sweeps approach, bringing with them the promise of ratings-grabbing drama and shocking revelations, General Hospital appears poised to deliver a storyline that will leave fans simultaneously horrified and riveted. The setup is almost too perfect. Chase, drowning in professional disappointment and personal insecurity, will find temporary solace in Willow's arms. His defense is lowered by self-pity and his judgment clouded by emotional turmoil. He'll make the catastrophic decision to betray Brooklyn in a moment of weakness that will haunt him forever. But the real soapalicious twist, the development that would elevate this from mere infidelity to genuine soap opera gold, would be an unexpected pregnancy. Yes, Chase was previously told he has motility issues with his sperm, a medical diagnosis that suggested natural conception would be difficult if not impossible. However, as any longtime soap opera viewer knows, medical diagnoses in Port Charles have a funny way of being incomplete, inaccurate, or simply overcome by the sheer dramatic necessity of the plot. Miracles happen. Medical mistakes occur. And sometimes, against all odds and expectations, biology finds a way. Imagine the exquisite irony, Chase and Brooklyn actively pursuing adoption because they believe natural conception isn't possible, while simultaneously Chase's ill-advised liaison with Willow results in the very pregnancy he thought he could never achieve. The timing would be devastatingly perfect, the dramatic potential absolutely explosive. Willow discovering she's carrying Chase's child just as he and Brooklyn are deepening their commitment to adoption would face an impossible choice. The ultimate deception. Here's where the storyline could venture into truly dark territory. Would Chase and Willow, faced with the reality of an unexpected pregnancy that would destroy both their lives if revealed, concoct the ultimate deception? Could they possibly fool Brooklyn into adopting their biological child, allowing Chase to raise his own son or daughter while maintaining the fiction that the baby came from elsewhere? The moral implications of such a scheme are staggering. It would represent a betrayal so profound, so multi-layered. That discovery would obliterate not just Chase and Brooklyn's marriage, but potentially every relationship in their orbit. Brooklyn would be deceived about the most fundamental aspect of her child's identity. The baby would grow up not knowing their true parentage. Willow would have to live with the knowledge that she gave up her child while watching someone else raise them. And Chase would bear the weight of this massive lie every single day. Looking at his child and knowing that his wife, the woman who trusted him, loved him, built a life with him, had no idea of the truth, the psychological toll alone would be devastating, but the inevitable revelation would be absolutely catastrophic. Because in soap opera land, secrets never stay buried forever. The truth has a way of emerging at the worst possible moment, usually when the maximum number of people can be hurt by it. Someone always finds out. A medical emergency requiring blood typing reveals incompatibilities. A casual DNA test for ancestry purposes uncovers shocking results. A deathbed confession shatters carefully constructed lies. However it happens, the truth will emerge, and when it does, the fallout will be spectacular. The fan perspective. General Hospital fans are already buzzing with speculation about where this storyline might lead. The question on everyone's mind, Will Willow and Chase actually cross that line and create a pregnancy situation that complicates the adoption plan? Social media forums are ablaze with theories, predictions, and passionate opinions about what should happen versus what will happen. Some fans are rooting for Chase and Brooklyn to overcome these obstacles and emerge stronger, while others are salivating at the prospect of the dramatic fireworks that would result from a Chase-Willow affair. The more cynical viewers point out that Chase has never been portrayed as particularly intelligent or self-aware. His track record of poor decision-making speaks for itself. His tendency to act on emotion rather than logic, to prioritize his hero complex over practical considerations, to mistake his feelings for objective reality. All of these character traits make him the perfect candidate for this kind of catastrophic mistake. He's not the sharpest knife in the drawer, as the saying goes, and his emotional vulnerability, combined with Willow's manipulative tendencies, creates a recipe for disaster that seems almost inevitable. Meanwhile, Brooklyn supporters are hoping against hope that she'll see through whatever scheme might develop, that her intelligence and intuition will protect her from being deceived so completely. But even the most optimistic fans have to acknowledge that soap opera logic often demands that the smartest characters miss the most obvious clues until the dramatically appropriate moment. Brooklyn's intelligence might ultimately save her, but not before she experiences profound betrayal and heartbreak. The stakes couldn't be higher, the dramatic potential couldn't be richer, and the emotional devastation couldn't be more complete. Whatever happens in the coming weeks and months, General Hospital viewers can be certain of one thing: Harrison Chase's demotion was just the beginning of his troubles, and the road ahead promises to be filled with temptation, betrayal, and consequences that will reshape multiple lives forever. Stay tuned, because this storyline is just getting started, and the worst is yet to come. What's your take on this developing storyline? Do you think Chase will succumb to Willow's manipulation, or will he stay loyal to Brooklyn despite his emotional vulnerability?